look at your full forecast with Chief Meteorologist Dan Cianca. Some technical issues. I was messing with your ears, Dan. My mic apparently was going in and out. So sorry about that if you saw that at the top of this.
I was like, what's wrong with my earpiece? I hear the fuzzy. Sometimes there's perception.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
I just have terrible hearing in general, so I couldn't even tell.
That's what you get growing up as a rocker.
Yeah.
There, Victor.
You know, big Iron Maiden fan, so all those concerts are killing my ears still.
I know, you and me both. All right, let's get you to Monterey tonight. A live look from Domenico's. Low clouds echoing the light, kind of the city tonight. So that's what's going on. We have some low cloud cover out there. But I want to take you even farther to the east, and we're going to talk about the Sierra snowpack and some of the latest numbers. The reason I'm talking about this is because, you know, we're dealing with several days of very warm weather across the state with probably another week or two to go with warm temperatures inland and for much of the state. So here are the numbers. The northern Sierra at 282% of normal, the central at 328, and the southern Sierra at 448% of normal for a statewide average of 337%. Now, sometimes percentages can be misleading. For example, it's late in the year, so maybe you're only supposed to have an inch of snow on the ground and there's 4 inches. And you know that one hot day can melt 4 inches of snow pretty easily. But with that said, this is the more telling number, this 173% of the April 1st average. The April 1st average is important because that's the time of year when typically the snow is at its deepest in the Sierra Nevada, when the melting begins to outpace any additional accumulating snowfall. So as of today, May 15th, a month and a half after April 1st, we are still almost twice as much snow as you would see during the deepest part of the year. So that does tell the story of how much snow is in the Sierra Nevada, and a lot of that has started to melt. There's a flood warning for the Yosemite Valley, the Merced River, and other tributaries there. Now, the park is not closed, so if you're traveling up there, but keep in mind there may be some smaller scale closures along the river. Some roads may be closed as well due to potential flooding here over the next couple of days. Rivers are pretty high right now, and it's still quite warm. Still this hour is 78 degrees in Fresno, just down the hill. So there's some heat out there, and temperatures are going to stay warm for the next week or two as this big ridge of high pressure. We see the proto-monsoonal ridge out over the Four Corners, but we've got another ridge down to our south, both of them kind of dominating things. We've been talking about some thunderstorm activity across the west, but most of that is to our north. We're really in the dry sector right now, and that's where we're going to stay here over the next several days. Now, as we take a look at our future cast, you can see a big trough out over the North Pacific, but it's not going to get any closer to us. We're going to be watching the two ridges, one over the south and one over the southwest, still kind of bumping up here along the west coast for the better part of the next week, which is going to keep our inland cities above normal. But at the coast, we will continue to see onshore flow, which will mitigate any heat there. It'll still may be a little bit warmer than normal on a couple of days here and there, but mostly seasonal temperatures expected. Now, eventually, looks like a trough is going to kick through out of the weekend. Right now, I'm not expecting any major impacts for us, but we might see some cooler temperatures next week by the time that happens. In the meantime, we are going to be talking about that normal cycle of low clouds. Now, our computer model is not handling the clouds very well overnight. By 4 a.m., I still expect to see clouds filling the bay and the nearby valleys. The model just is not handling it. Sometimes these high-res models don't even handle our local climate all that well, but we give you the best we can. Of course, nice thing is having someone like myself to be able to interpret that data for you, because if you're looking at cloud data on your phone, it might be using the same computer model and you'd be thinking, oh, I'm going to wake up to clear skies, but tomorrow morning looking at mostly cloudy skies with some patchy fog possible. Now, during the day tomorrow, we will see the clouds recede back to the coast, so we may hold on to a few low clouds around the peninsula at times, kind of like we did today, but more so like on the outer coast. But I think we're going to see quite a bit of sunshine on the coast tomorrow. We may see a couple of bubbly clouds over the hills tomorrow afternoon, but otherwise should be a pretty nice day, and most areas will be a little bit warmer than they were today. Here's what I'm expecting temperature-wise. How about mid-80s in Ben Lomond and Boulder Creek? A little bit cooler down along the coast with upper 60s in Santa Cruz and Capitola. If you live on the north side of Santa Cruz, you might be in the 70s tomorrow for sure. Out of the north coast, I should say, 63 in Davenport tomorrow. But as we head farther inland, we'll start seeing some 70s in Watsonville, Salinas, 80s in Hollister, and mid-80s up in Morgan Hill. The near shore areas staying in the mid-60s tomorrow. Over to the Monterey Peninsula, another day of seasonable weather with mid-60s Monterey Seaside and 67 your high in Carmel. And then down south, getting down along the valley, we will see temperatures reaching 80 by Greenfield and then probably 90 by Cabo San Ardo, all the way to 94 tomorrow in Bradley. Let's look at that 7-day forecast. On the coast, not a lot of variation, up and down a few degrees here and there day to day. Will be a touch cooler on Wednesday, then Thursday morning looks like we'll see a little bit of drizzle. And the winds pick up and will clear us out and warm us up a little bit Thursday afternoon. A weak disturbance passes by. Beyond that, weekend looking pretty seasonable and partly cloudy. Inland areas, also some minor ups and downs, but nothing major. Still going to be windy in the valleys during the afternoon, and we'll have some occasional passing clouds, but otherwise looking like a pretty nice forecast. Just a little warm for this time of year, Victor.
I'll take the 80s over, 90s, 100s. I'm not a big 100s.
Yeah, you got to find that middle ground, like Greenfield.
Yeah.
It's like the heart of the valley, it's right in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Dan.
You bet.